What's up, Stripe Nation? Blake Albert's here with B&B Lawn Care. I'm here with my buddy Caleb Auman.
What's up,
We're
everybody?
here in sunny Florida, right in front of the Hype House here. Brought to you guys by Auman. You always gotta give a super shout out to Auman. We love those guys. We're part of the Auman program where we talk about bettering our business and how we can help other contractors better their business and make more money. That's the end result.
Yes, sir.
But I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend. We've got to talk about paver driveways.
Yeah.
And there's some really cool ones here on this island. So I want Caleb to take it away and kind of walk through how you would go about doing something like this, all the way from like, hey, a client comes and says, I want these cool designs in my driveway, a circle in the middle.
Sure.
How do you go from that to the end result, which is this?
Well, it all starts with a client consultation and meeting with them and talking to them about, what do they want to achieve, what looks do they want to go with. This kind of scalloped effect here with all these circle and fan shaped layouts here. These are in a kit, so you can see these are all wedge shaped, and they come in a kit actually, and so it goes, and it's in a pattern.
So like these would come in the kit with the grid?
Yeah, and so yeah, so it's gonna have a little schematics saying, okay, this is center, second ring, third, fourth, and you alternate, and then it just so forth and so on out, and then it scallops and moves on, from there. So, and then a center, like back home in Ohio, those were called circle packs. And again, it's just the same concept, just continued fully around. So some clients like that look. It's really busy, but it's pretty neat, kind of ornate, pretty cool look.
It would definitely be like you've got to be in the right area, or this would just stand out like crazy.
Sure. It's like, I don't know if it's considered like I don't even know if it's really a Mediterranean style home, but it kind of works with it. So I don't mind it so much. It's still not my style. But
so like, how do you get the kits to all work together like this?
It's just having a guy that's running a project that understands this concept, has some, really, because if you look at it, it's just a repeating pattern over and over. So like this one sits on that one, sits on that one, sits on that one, sits on that one, and you just find your benchmark, starting point, right? And you just work your way, just work your way laying these things out each one at a time, you just go and build your way from. How would that go? It'd go from, so you'd be working from there, working out this way, and you just keep going. Something that's really cool next door I want to show you. You can see how this puddling effect you got going on right here. See, you can see the pavers are unclean. Yeah. And you got a lot of water building up here in the survey marker control point.
Real quick, Caleb, to clean that, would you just suggest like a pressure washer with a surface cleaner?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be a great way to get that clean. The surface cleaner is really the ticket to getting pavers cleaned up, or any hard surface cleaned up really nicely. The problem you're going to fight here in this situation is you've got a low spot here that's holding water, and it's going to be a constant battle for you to keep those pristine and really nice looking.
And you have gravel here.
Yeah, so and it's just the muddy water that's this dirty water this floods. Like every time it rains, there's a puddle there. So that's kind of a challenging situation, which brings me to this situation here. And what they did to alleviate that, which is they installed a permeable paver. So
what does that mean?
So those pavers right next door are an impermeable surface, so the water hits the top of them and runs off. These here, and this is some water I just got out of the tap here after I drank my water bottle, but you can see these wide joints here with this open graded stone. Yep. But when it rains, it's going to blow the joints out. But that water is going to go, as it works its way over, it's just going into the joints. And the purpose of that and the idea and the thought process is to load the existing ground as if it were, kind of natural itself. The rain would just fall, hit the ground, and for the most part soak in. And so the concept here is you still have a hard surface, but we're getting all that rainwater back into the ground, recharging the aquifers, so our well water supply is stronger. The ground cleans the water, believe it or not, and it helps mitigate the issues of what you see right there. So this has got a bunch of, again, this clean stone with no fines in it. So the water sits in this hole. There's probably about that much gravel underneath this driveway that's this open stone like this, and that water can fall in there and it can get stored in there, really. It's on a little bit of a slope, a little more of a detail there, but here nor there at the moment. But you would eliminate and you begin to mitigate the issues that they're having there, because there's a basin down here for all that water to sit in.
It looks like they're having some water issues where water is sitting here and just getting those extremely dirty. Would you,
for sure,
like, to totally solve that issue, if the customer's just annoyed and the budget allows, what would you suggest?
I would just, shooting from the hip, and just we're out walking around here, just touring kind of properties, just looking around. My shooting from the hip solution would be, and you should probably consult with the city first because it's a stormwater and street, stormwater issue. But I would probably consider installing an apron of a permeable paver like this with a drainage basin of, clean stone underneath it. It would give a place for that water to go to and hopefully permeate through and into the ground and allow and mitigate or minimize that flooding issue there. But that's something they're probably going to have to work out with the city and get approval from the city to do, or the village, or whatever the heck it is. To
Whatever this
that,
is.
So.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah, buddy.
So once you power wash that with a surface cleaner, do you need to do anything to treat those pavers, or can you just...
So to answer your question, because I know exactly where you're going with that, it would sure be beneficial. Once you've got it clean and pristine, give it 24 hours and hit it with a sealer that's going to make it look like brand new again. Just like staining a deck or whatever, it makes things look new and vibrant. You're gonna make those pavers look like they're brand new, and it's like giving anything a fresh coat of paint or whatever. Just a good sealer with a good joint stabilizer in it, and a good protectant, and man, it's going to make them look like new. It's going to help them hold their color even longer. It'll actually make them clean easier because you've got that sealant that's almost like a film on it, and the dust and debris and stuff will really brush off of it much easier, and makes it nicer.
How often do you suggest that?
I've got clients that treat this like a hobby, and they power wash every single year. The main thing is, like, I would, having done pavers now for 15 years, and I would really recommend that pavers get sealed every 2 to 3 years, 3 to 5-ish. You can let them go forever. It just depends on, like, what, you invested a lot of money in a paver driveway and in using brick pavers, and so it depends on just how much you want to uphold that aesthetic. It's like buying a really nice car. You're gonna, wash it, wax it and stuff to preserve the paint, make it look really nice for its entire life. And so the same with this, it just depends on, like, how much do you want that aesthetic to remain, right? And so I'm generally recommending, if you can, or if you can do it yourself, it's really not that hard, or hire the service out. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to get it clean and sealed every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and it really prolongs the life of the pavers and keeps them looking like the day they were installed.
So this is a question coming from a guy that is just trying to learn here. How in the world, like, I see these are spaced apart and it looks perfect. How do you do that throughout this whole driveway?
That's a great question. So these pavers have big, what they call tabs, ears, nibs, all sorts of different names for them. But they've just got, or offset bars, spacer bars. So each paver has a little tab on it, and so you set it, and it's really click and drop. So you got your paver, you click it right against the others and drop it, and so it's just got spacer bars built into it that just makes that perfect spacing, as needed.
And then once they're down, then you just take those tabs off?
No, they stay in there. They're concrete. I mean, they're little tabs of concrete.
So they're in there right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if we can find one that's exposed, Blake, we might find one. Yeah, you just start to barely see those little bumps right there. So, or maybe that's just the sand, but there are spacers on there, I assure you.
So when you have these down, it's on a compacted surface. What's that called?
In this case, it's going to be like a number 57 angular clean stone. Like, we'll run across the street here real quick. It's going to be, and I don't know Florida, paver construction techniques, but it's going to be more or less on an aggregate that's like this. You can see there's no fines, no dust in it, and so water's not going to bind up in it. But you can see it's angular and it's really strong, as opposed to like round, gravel. It's going to be like marbles, right? And they're going to roll and all that stuff. But you get this, and it's going, all that angular stuff is going to lock. It's not going to roll around. So there's going to be 6 inches, 12 inches, whatever depth of that was like engineered or prescribed by the architect, the engineer, whatever whoever's writing the specs for it.
So those are going to be down, and then there's going to be nothing in between it, and then you just go on top of that stuff and put it in there. So tell me how that works.
As far as like the joint fill, like what you put in between the pavers. Yeah, so you're going to sweep into it. We'll go back across the street and keep from getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
And so then you're going to sweep in.
So it would look like this throughout the whole driveway, nothing in it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then so once you lay the pavers in there, and then you take this number 9 size stone, number 9 angular, again, clean, no dust, no fine, so it doesn't hold water. And you're going to take that stuff and you're going to sweep those chips into there. And then you can spray this stuff with a sealer too. It helps with a polymer binder and helps lock these little chips in here so they don't, you see how these are kind of on top of the pavers and kicked around? Yeah. You can hit that with a polymer sealer and help lock those down, but water still passes through it. So, but yeah, you can see it's due for some maintenance. You see how you got a lot of those
so is that a service you offer to your customers?
Yeah, permeable pavers, yeah, absolutely. We've kind of gotten away.
Well, no, like I mean like the filling it. Like how often
we
do you do that?
We do a little bit. Really depends on with the permeable end of things. It depends on the use and how much, abuse or just surface you know,
so like
used to
driveways
take it.
probably more than patios.
Probably, yeah. Just you got the vehicular, and on a steep slope like this too, because it's a pretty steep grade. Like they're gonna get kicked out or snagged on a tire. You know, they're gonna get pulled out. So it's just one of those things. Like it kind of just depends on how much it's being used and all that. I would advise using a sealer on it that'll help lock those little pebbles into place. You know, have them like flicking out all over the place. But like cleaning and sealing as a whole, is its own animal, because here's what we found when we were doing cleaning and sealing services, because we don't do it a whole lot anymore. You want a good power washer. A hot water power washer is ideal. And then you need somebody that can communicate with your client really well, because sure as you can bet, like you spend the day power washing that, get it perfect, or the morning, and you let it dry for 24 hours because you can't spray it wet with sealer, right? A bird is gonna come over and poop right on that thing, or like the neighborhood kid's gonna ride a muddy bicycle tire across there in the street, and you end up running into all that because now you gotta clean it, wait on 24 hours for it to dry again. And you know what I mean? And so,
yeah.
And then it's like, hey, Mr. Jones, I'm sorry, we're delayed again. And did you price that delay into your work? And just, we ran into just all this crazy stuff. And it's just, if you can build a business just focusing doing this stuff, you could kill it, because you set up these systems and protocols that solely deal with all those issues, and you have a customer service representative of your company or whatever, or the guy that's doing the work, coordinate all that stuff with your clients. Say you get a rainfall after it, and hey, we gotta wait 24 more hours now again to let it dry up so we can seal. It's a great business, and you can make a lot of money cleaning and rejuvenating pavers. If I ever moved to Florida, that'd actually probably be one of the services I would like really hunt down, because there's paver driveway,
yeah,
paver driveway, and you could systematize this really well and figure out the pricing and you know, your production rates on the square footage, and you could do drive-by estimates easy and be like, hey, we can clean and seal. You do a whole package of like, hey, this is what we could make the driveway look like, all that, and you could systematize it really well and really kill the paver restoration game. So a lot of business out there if you want to look into that.
A lot of knowledge. Caleb Auman. That's why I like hanging out with him, and I'm glad there's a lot of pavers around here. Caleb,
dude,
thanks, man. Guys, be sure to check out Auman Landscape on Instagram, YouTube.
Yep.
And you just started a podcast.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, the Kid Contractor Podcast. So we're looking forward to dropping those.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. If you liked the video, leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.